Welcome to another explainer. Listen closely to this direct, unfiltered warning straight from the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports. Students lose marks by not showing working. Even if your final answer is wrong, method marks can save you. Now, I want you to think of your mathematics exam exactly like a high-stakes football match. The paper is the pitch, the questions are the opposing defense, and you need an absolutely flawless strategy to outplay them. You wouldn't walk onto a football pitch without knowing your formation, right? You wouldn't just kick the ball blindly and hope it magically finds the back of the net. But incredibly, that is exactly what thousands of students do every single year. Today, we are focusing on probability and statistics 1. I want to introduce you to two very different types of candidates we see in the exam hall. Let's call them Alex and Sam. If you look at a typical split screen of their attempts on a past paper, like a classic Cambridge 0580 question, you'll see Alex basically overloading the page with raw mathematical facts, just throwing every formula at the wall, but completely lacking in any real analysis. Over on the other side, you have Sam. Sam is rushing the play, completely missing the command word requirements, sprinting past the defense but shooting way off target, and throwing away easy points. We see their papers absolutely covered in red pen marks. Both are losing marks, but for entirely different tactical reasons. Well, today, we are going to fix that. Today, we are completely decoding the examiner's mind, specifically looking at the examiner's playbook for statistics. And look, whether you are tackling the 0580, the 0606, 4024, 4037, 4040, or the incredibly rigorous 9709 syllabus, the defensive barriers you face from the Cambridge examiners are fundamentally identical. This explainer is your ultimate insider's guide. We are not just going to do a simple, boring math review of mean, median, mode, range, interquartile range, and standard deviation. Absolutely not. We are looking at the formation, the tactics, and the execution required to break down complex text and data. The examiners have a very specific playbook, and once you know their rules of engagement, you can systematically dismantle literally any question they throw at you. It's about outsmarting the test design itself. Here is our tactical game plan for this session. First up, we'll cover core statistical principles. Second, we'll dive into the standardized solution sequence. Third, we're going to master the method mark strategy. And finally, we'll wrap up with top examiner warnings. Let's kick off with Section 1, Core Statistical Principles. The most absolutely crucial thing to understand about Cambridge mathematics is that the assessment objectives prioritize analytical depth over superficial breadth. Remember Alex, our student who just throws random facts at the page. Alex fails because Cambridge examiners aren't just looking for human calculators, they are looking for logical, structured reasoning. When a command word says calculate, show that, or compare, it's giving you a specific tactical directive. It's telling you exactly how to structure your attack. This is where top students use the Peel framework: point, evidence, explanation, link. You make your mathematical point, you show your evidence through your working, you explain what the number means, and you link it back to the question's context. Before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. Trust me, mastering these specific command words using frameworks like Peel is literally the difference between an average grade and top-tier marks. Let's look at how this applies to our core stats. Notice how the theoretical architecture of Statistics 1 is separated into two distinct ecosystems here. On the left side of the table, we have central tendency, mean, median, and mode. Think of these as your midfield, controlling the center of the pitch. On the right side, we have dispersion, range, interquartile range, and standard deviation. These are your wingers, showing how wide the play is stretched. Examiners constantly report that students treat these like isolated islands. They don't. They are a connected ecosystem. Sam, our rushing student, will calculate the median perfectly, but when asked to compare two data sets, Sam completely forgets to pair that median with the interquartile range to discuss consistency. You need to conceptualize this table as a unified defensive line. A mean tells you where the center is, but without the standard deviation on the right column, you have absolutely zero idea how reliable that center actually is. The syllabus explicitly states that top-performing students exhibit a connected conceptual understanding between these two columns. You have to use them together to score the big marks. And this brings us to a massive revelation. Cross-topic connections equal higher marks. In the real exam hall, probability and statistics 1 doesn't happen in a vacuum. You aren't just going to get a basic list of numbers and be asked for the standard deviation like you're back in middle school. No, you are going to get probability distributions, maybe even complex scenarios that hint at normal distribution concepts where you must extract the relevant data from a dense text paragraph. The principal examiner reports highlight year after year that candidates who reference cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. It proves to the examiner that you aren't just memorizing formulas, you actually speak the mathematical language fluently. You can transfer your understanding of dispersion to completely unfamiliar, weirdly worded contexts, proving to the examiner that your theoretical foundation is rock solid. That's how you break through their defensive line.
All right, moving into our second phase, Section 2, the standardized solution sequence. This is where the magic happens. This is where we implement a highly structured approach to put your brain clearly on the page, turning those red pen marks of failure into beautiful green check marks. We are talking about total transformation here.
Listen, the examiners do not want a messy, chaotic scramble toward a final number. They expect a logical, step-by-step procedural framework. When you structure your answers sequentially, you are essentially grabbing the examiner by the hand and guiding their pen right to where they need to award you the marks. Let's look at the exact 5-step mathematics success blueprint that guarantees success. Step 1. Identify key elements, extracting the raw data from complex text. Step 2. Apply relevant principles, choosing whether you need central tendency or dispersion. Step 3. Execute analysis. This means showing your clear working, your substitutions, your formula setups. Step 4. Verify results, doing a quick essential sanity check. If your standard deviation is a negative number, you've messed up because it represents a physical distance. Step 5. Present in format, giving the answer to the correct number of significant figures as demanded by the paper. When we took Sam and forced him to sit down, take a breath, and rewrite his rushed answers using this exact sequence, his mark potential transformed entirely. His paper went from a 40% to a 90% purely through structure. This is the core motif. Deconstruct, solve, evaluate. You have to identify the given information, break it down, solve it systematically, and check for reasonableness. Data interpretation requires you to actually interpret relationships and draw evidence-based conclusions. If a question asks you to calculate the interquartile range of two different runners' times and compare them, the deconstruct phase is finding the quartiles. The solve phase is doing the actual subtraction. But the evaluate phase, the one Alex completely ignores because he just wants to crunch numbers, is writing the sentence that says, runner A has a lower IQ, meaning their times are more consistent than runner B. That single evaluation sentence is where the distinction between a B grade and an A star is made. Stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2-3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to Ace the Exams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. Now we absolutely have to talk about the final mile of your answer. Strict presentation conventions required. The Cambridge syllabus is incredibly pedantic about this, and honestly, rightly so. Proper headings, correct mathematical terminology, appropriate formats, and clear annotations are not optional, they are mandatory for securing top marks. If you calculate the mean but forget the units, or if you round prematurely in the middle of your standard deviation calculation and throw off the final decimal, you are bleeding marks for absolutely no reason. You must present your evidence cleanly. Think of it like finishing your play with a perfect, clean strike into the top corner of the goal. Presentation is everything. Welcome to Section 3, the Method Mark Strategy. We are shifting into an interactive workshop mode right now. I want you to imagine a 60-second timer on your screen. Challenge 1 is a data scan. Imagine a complex, grouped frequency table with cumulative frequencies plotted out. When you see this massive wall of data, your first instinct shouldn't be to panic. You have 60 seconds. What do? You scan for the core trend, you identify the class widths, you find the median group. The method mark strategy dictates that marks are awarded for the process, not just the destination. When dealing with group data, showing your interpolation method clearly on the page is a guaranteed method mark, even if you punch the completely wrong numbers into your calculator at the very end. The process is your absolute safety net. Let's do challenge 2, find the flaw. Notice the stark contrast in grading here on the screen. Final answer only, and it's wrong. Boom, 0 marks. But clear notation plus working, even with a completely wrong final answer, you get partial method marks. I have seen beautifully written paragraphs where a student confidently states the variance is 25, but they provide 0 working leading up to it. What's the examiner's commentary? No working shown, 0 marks awarded. It's brutal. The flaw is hiding your process. Analytical depth and clear working act as an impenetrable defense against calculation errors. Always write out the uncalculated formula first. Write the substitution of the numbers second. Then, and only then, write the calculator's output. That 3-line structure is your insurance policy against a random slip of the finger on the calculator keypad. Challenge 3 is speed writing. Imagine a 30-second timer. You need to write one perfect Peel paragraph. This requires evaluative thinking, questioning assumptions, considering perspectives, and justifying with evidence. Let's say you have to write a quick comparative paragraph analyzing 2 datasets. You make your point. Dataset X has a higher mean but a lower standard deviation. You provide your evidence. State the exact numbers you calculated in step 1. You explain it. This means dataset X generally scores higher and is more reliable. Then you link it back to the context. Therefore, dataset X represents the better overarching trend, despite any weird outliers. Top-scoring candidates actively evaluate the quality of the evidence. They identify the limitations, like explicitly acknowledging when a mean is heavily skewed by an extreme outlier and smartly suggesting the median might be a better measure of central tendency. That right there is an A-star paragraph written in 30 seconds.
We are heading into the final stretch now. Section 4, Top Examiner Warnings. We have scoured the archives and distilled the absolute most frustrating errors candidates make year after year. These are the defensive traps that catch out 90% of unprepared students. Let's build our final system. Here are the top 3 warnings directly from the reports, and they perfectly align with our 3 rules that guarantee top marks. Warning 1, vague answers lacking specific details. This is why our rule 1 is command word decoding. Do not just vaguely say, the spread is bigger. The examiner hates that. Say, the interquartile range of 15 is strictly greater than 10, indicating a wider spread of middle data. Warning 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. This ties perfectly into our rule 3, the time management matrix. You have to leave time to check those significant figures and units. It's where easy marks go to die. Warning 3, answers not specific to the given context. This is solved by Rule 2, the Peel framework application. If the question is about the weight of apples in a factory, do not just give me a raw number. Tell me what that standard deviation actually means for the quality control of those physical apples. Ground your mathematics in reality.
To lock all of this in before you step into that high-pressure exam hall, I highly recommend this incredible memory hack. Use a visual story method. Probability and Statistics 1 isn't just a random assortment of formulas. It's a narrative of data. Imagine the mean, median, and mode as 3 siblings trying to find the exact center of a playground. Then imagine the range, interquartile range, and standard deviation as the literal fences built around that playground to see exactly how far those kids can run. When you encode these complex 9709 concepts into vivid visual stories, your brain retrieves them infinitely faster during high-stress situations. You stop panicking about which formula to use because you inherently understand the story the data is trying to tell you. Students who implement these mathematics strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. I want to leave you with this final, truly provocative thought. Are you practicing for the final answer, or are you practicing the methodology? If you are only checking the back of the textbook to see if your final number matches, you are doing it completely wrong. Practice the method, build your defensive strategy, master the Peel framework, and the marks will inevitably follow. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCS to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to at acetheexams_IGCS and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade for mathematics and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here.